Notre Dame head coach. A frustrating final season for the Irish, but he's hoping they can get some confidence here at the end of the regular season.
No disappointment in his career. He's been here 23 years, 13 NCAA tournament appearances. Hall of Fame coach, in my opinion.
Wake in the home white, Notre Dame in the road blue, and it's the Demon Deacons that start with the ball. All eyes on Tyree Appleby. Randolph just hit on it. Could very well be the first ACC player to lead the league in assists and points. And yet he's not nearly as much in the ACC Player of the Year conversation as Alondes Williams was just a year ago.
Although because of the success of the team, and I think the field goal percentage of Alondes was just a little bit better.
Take a look at the Notre Dame starting five and get used to seeing these five faces because Mike Bray, without his starting backcourt today, they usually only run 7 guys. So with 2 out, you're left with these 5.
Well, the good news for Mike Bray's team is they don't foul much. So let's just see how this works if he's going to go to the bench at all.
And Wake Forest dealing with some injuries of their own. Damari Monsanto out for the remainder of the season, had surgery this morning to repair a torn patella and meniscus. How do you go about replacing Monsanto, Randolph?
You don't. I mean, he's as good a shooter as there is in the country. You can't replace him. What he did to defenses and dictating the coverage, that's missing. No one's replacing that. It's by committee.
The officials, Lee Cassell, Ramey Steins, and A.J. Desai, stopping play because of a clock issue. We'll get back to Monsanto in just a second. Let's talk about those Notre Dame injuries. Marcus Hammond, J.J. Starling, both out tonight. Yeah, that's 20 points a game that you remove from an offense that desperately needs their production.
Well, the shooting is surrounding. What you're really missing is your 2 creators. Those are the guys that put pressure on the rim, that created for everyone else. And with those guys missing, it's imperative that Notre Dame just be really strong and fluid in how they run their half-court offense because they don't have anyone to break the defense down. So expect them to attack matchups and maybe post up some of their guards to get scoring inside and paint touches.
The dangerous thing with this Notre Dame team is you still have Cormac Ryan, Dane Goodwin, Nate Laszewski, and Trey Wirtz, 4 shooters on the court that any one of them could go off.
They can. And they're about the same age as you. They might be a little older
exactly. You know what? They've got a misleading record.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people would look at 10-18 and 2-15 in the ACC and go, this is an easy win for Wake Forest. No. And it is not. This is a team in Notre Dame that could show up and shoot the lights out. They've been in every game in their last 5 games. They've lost all of them, but I really thought that they would be a lot better than this, and they're still hoping to get it going. Appleby, the steal and the easy 2. Our ACC doubleheader continues from Winston-Salem. Randolph Childress, Jay Alter with you, and you haven't missed much. Wake Forest an early 2-0 lead. What a great answer. Ven-Allen Lubin, the freshman, rocks the rim.
Wake a little late in their rotation in defense, and you're accustomed to this team in the past, and Ven-Allen Lubin hadn't started much, hadn't played much early, and you're used to them picking and popping, and that time they cut to the rim and got a dunk.
Cormac Ryan steals it away. Wirtz a trailing 3. He hits it. Told you Notre Dame can get hot from 3. You see there.
They're one of the better shooting. We have 2 of the better 3-point shooting teams in the ACC, and we talked about that. And you definitely don't want to leave Trey Wirtz open.
This is a bit of a trap game for Wake Forest. Back-to-back losses at Miami and at NC State. You're without Damari Monsanto, playing without him for the first time. And you've got a Notre Dame team that, despite their record, has the ability to come in and make some threes and pull the upset.
When you get this late in the season in conference play, throw the records out. It's just a familiarity with everyone. You know, the records don't matter.
The first meeting between these 2 teams earlier this month in South Bend, Wake won 81-64, but Monsanto had 28 points in that game. Without him, they lose. So someone's got to pick up that production.
And you just saw it, just a pass there. Appleby penetrated, kicked it out to Bobi Klintman, and he didn't take the shot. He took it that time.
That time he pulls the trigger and connects.
On cue. He didn't shoot it the first time. You don't have to tell Monsanto shooting. to shoot it. So you know if he's out there, that was going up early. But second time, he didn't hesitate.
Had successful surgery this morning. Steve Forbes says he's feeling good. Wirtz answers with a nice pull-up pop.
Expect Wirtz to be really aggressive. He's from locally here. He's from Charlotte. We picked on him early because he's from home. I asked him, was his family coming? He said, no, his brother's playing in the playoffs. His brother's in the playoffs. So he said all his family's down watching his brother play in the local playoffs. Coming in now, Wake just comes out. Great sign if you're a Wake fan with Bobi Klintman knocking down his first shot, being inserted in the starting lineup.
Big smile, too, from the freshman from Sweden. Here's Andrew Carr. The Wake has the height advantage in this game with an undersized Notre Dame team.
But this team is accustomed to playing small. They've been playing small all year. They do a great job of not fouling.
Appleby. Oh, he's so crafty. Drills the three.
Coming off the ball screen, no help, no one showed. That's why he's leading the ACC in scoring. Notre Dame doesn't have the creator, but they sure can shoot it.
You get the feeling points are not going to be at a premium tonight, that both of these teams are just going to light it up.
I don't think either one of these teams are great on the defensive end of the floor. I think rebounding will be the underrated aspect of this game. Notre Dame is usually undersized and get out-rebounded quite a bit.
Carr has his right hand taped, and he grimaced as he fumbled that ball. Leszewski knocks down a three. Notre Dame shooting lights out to start this game. The Irish a 10-8 lead, and they've made both threes they've taken tonight.
In March, we move even faster.
A star-studded day we've got lined up.
Push through each round together, and we don't let up until we are the ACC champions.
It's over. What you dream about in your driveway. ACC champions.
That's our move. The 2023 Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament.
Notre Dame, there has been no luck for the Irish in the ACC. Take a look at these close losses, and that's why that 2-15 conference record is so deceiving. Just 1-8 in games decided by 5 points or less.
Just so difficult to win in this league and in any league. But when you're getting these one-possession game, two-possession games, just make it so difficult to win. And it's just hard, and there's nothing you can do when you got this type of experience as a coaching staff.
And for Wake Forest, you take a look at their close games. They've been in plenty of them, and about even. Certainly better than Notre Dame has fared this year in close games. But now playing without Monsanto, Klintman certainly getting the green light in his absence.
And Klintman's played well this year. He shot the ball very well, and he's very capable of it. But it's just not. There's no replacing, the threat of what it does to the defense, what Monsanto brings to this team.
Trey Wirtz draws the foul. Notre Dame perfect from deep so far, 2 for 2. A team that lives and dies by the three. You'd expect them to continue to firing them up all night long.
But they're not going to stop shooting. I mean, whether they make them or not, that's a different story. I mean, in this first matchup between these two, they were 4 of 21. They were already 2 for 2 tonight.
In the last 5 games in particular, Notre Dame has played high-caliber teams, Virginia, Duke, North Carolina. They're 0-5 in their last 5, but the average loss of 3 points. They're right in it. They just can't finish.
Yeah, it's just, for them, it's just one possession game because they're so lethal from behind the three-point line. And they're also a team you wonder sometimes if they wear down. They don't play with a lot of depth, and then they're missing 2 more starters tonight. So it'll be interesting to see as this game wears on. Does Wake Forest try to take advantage of that and go to their bench?
3 seconds to shoot. Hildreth denied. There's 2 on the timer, and Wake will have it underneath their own hoop. What do you try and do here coming out of bounds?
Just great on-ball defense against Hildreth. He's just so big and physical, and that's why they got Goodwin on him. I mean, his size to help bother him as he gets to the rim.
Appleby no angle, and that's a shot clock violation. All the attention on Tyree Appleby. That's every game, but even more so with Monsanto out.
Well, because now you focus more, your defense is more restricted. You don't have the space. I think the pressure from Monsanto not being here was you didn't rotate off him. Plus, you had to have a really elite defender on him because he was so explosive with his size. He just elevated over defenders and shot right over top of him.
Mazzona into the game, first off the bench, and he knocks it down. 7-0 Notre Dame run. They lead by 6.
We talked about it today in shoot-around. It's just there was an activity level, a pop about Notre Dame. They came in, you didn't come in with a team worrying about their record. They came in expecting to win this game. Just comes in, he's just strong with the ball there. Gets out of the trap, kicks it to the zona. That's a big possession there because if that's a steal, it goes the other way. And then you come down in an unforced turnover there and then come down and get out of foul. Wake is uncharacteristically a little sloppy here. Approaching the midway point of the first half. A couple careless turnovers against a team that doesn't pressure. Notre Dame is not a pressure team.
The other thing is Wake Forest is yet to get to the foul line. That's something that particularly Tyree Appleby likes to do, but this Notre Dame team very disciplined. They don't often foul.
Achilles' heel has been turning over the basketball, and you have to do a better job against this Notre Dame team because they do not pressure. Sometimes you can just get caught trying to do too much, and that looks like what they're doing now as Notre Dame falls back into their 2-3 zone.
Hard foul at the rim. Sends the freshman Zach Keller to the foul line. With Matt Zona in there giving Notre Dame a little size. Played 5 minutes in the loss against North Carolina, but 16 minutes at Virginia. Those will probably be the only 6 guys you see for Notre Dame tonight, with Marcus Hammond and J.J. Starling both out in the Irish backcourt.
Well, I can tell you this Zona and Lubin lineup has not played much this year together.
Tuesday night's doubleheader on ACC Network starts at 7. Clemson and Virginia, a battle atop the ACC. You do not want to miss that. And then the nightcap, Virginia Tech against Louisville. A terrific doubleheader right here on ACC Network. What a crazy day in the ACC, Randolph. You have Florida State hitting a 40-foot buzzer beater to beat Miami. The Hurricanes were in the driver's seat to win the ACC regular season. Now you could argue Virginia, Clemson, Pittsburgh, and, of course, Miami. One of those 4 is going to win it. You just don't know which.
Somebody's going to win it now. We know that. That we know. That's about the only thing we know.
Ven-Allen Lubin stayed with it. Second effort was good.
Ven-Allen Lubin starts at center. Now he's kicked out to the 4 with Matt Zona at center. And you see because of this lineup, they're out in their zone. This is a big lineup there with Mike Bray's team, the Irish.
This is as big as you'll see them get all season. Klintman a 3, much needed, and he knocks it down from the corner. Bobi Klintman.
I mean, today in the walkthrough, J.J. Starling tried to give it a go, so I can't imagine they even thought that this lineup would be possible now. Nate Laszewski's playing at the 3. He's playing on the perimeter now. And he started this season as the 5-man.
Rattles in and out, no good. Ven-Allen Lubin couldn't come up with the offensive rebound. Klintman passes up the 3, looks inside. Carr, everything but the finish. Foul called.
Great pass there by 2 16 guys. You don't usually have a 16 guy that can come off a ball screen or get downhill and make a play.
You know, what's funny, Randolph, is this Notre Dame team, you look at that first meeting in South Bend, totally different when you take Hammond and Starling out. So, yeah, you won by 17, but then you don't have Damari Monsanto, who had 30 in that game.
He single-handedly brought you back that game.
Yeah.
He went on a tear and started shooting from the parking lot.
Even though that game was only 22 days ago.
Yeah.
a lot has changed. These are almost two different lineups that you'll see throughout the night. So how much can you really take away from that meeting?
Well, you can't already because we can see with Notre Dame, they're having a lineup on the floor that hadn't played together all year.
Yeah, you can't scout this. You're seeing it for the first time.
No.
Goodwin, nothing but the bottom of the net. Notre Dame shooting lights out. They're a perfect 3 for 3 from 3.
Both teams are shooting as we thought they would. Shooting well from behind the three-point line. We got 6 threes combined.
Lucas Taylor into the game for Wake Forest, and he answers with a big-time triple.
Such a confidence booster for Lucas Taylor.
First time he's played since mid-December in the Appalachian State game. Grabs the rebound, too. What a burst off the bench Lucas Taylor is right now for Wake Forest. Has it here.
And he's got some playing time early in the year. He actually started 4 games for the Deacs and was told earlier this afternoon he'd be playing, so he surely looks like he's gotten himself ready to go here.
He was calling for it on that possession, too. He's feeling it after that 3.
When your first one go in, you got to be ready to shoot the next one. Sophomore guard from Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's critical for Notre Dame, too, right now. You see they've been a little patient. They want to control the pace because they just don't have enough bodies.
The threes keep falling for Notre Dame. Trey Wirtz make it 4 for 4 from beyond the arc for the Irish.
Trey Wirtz with the heat check shot early here.
We were talking about that first meeting. They've already got 4 threes. That's how many they had in South Bend 3 weeks ago.
And this is a scary team because you can't get into a jump shooting contest with Notre Dame. I don't think anyone wants to do that.
Taylor, that time misses. And that's the type of season it's been for the Irish. Dane Goodwin throws it at the foot of Nate Laszewski. It'll be Wake Forest ball when we come back.
We got us a good horse game going on right now. Trey Wirtz said, take that. I'll take this 3 and go in the Irish up 5.
Wake.
After the frustrating loss to NC State on Wednesday night, Randolph, I think Steve Forbes summarized really well what a lot of coaches who we talked to throughout the season think about the net. He just can't explain the metric. Anyone you talk to can't seem to piece together why certain teams are ranked higher. And you look at Wake Forest's resume and 2-8 in Quad 1. That's probably going to cost them the NCAA tournament. If they're 4-6 or 5-5, they're probably in. But what do you think of Steve's take?
I completely agree. I think everyone's frustrated by it. I think it equally is with the narrative of the ACC. And I think some of the leagues they get Quad 1 wins and Quad 1 opportunities that this league doesn't get, and I just don't understand it. I don't think anyone does. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for us, having to watch it, and you just don't understand it. It's just unreal. I think something has to be done, and I think it has to change in some way.
Yeah, and you look at Virginia, Miami, 2 teams that are, I think, top 15, top 10 teams, although they didn't really play like it today.
No, not today.
It's just tough because it feels like the net rankings are set in November and December, and they just stay that way because then Big 12 and Big 10 teams, even if they lose 8-9 games.
Which I say is ridiculous. I mean, we watched the Penn State and Ohio State game the other day, and Penn State wins on the road, and it's a Quad 1 win against Ohio State, a team that lost 14 or 15. It's just ridiculous, and no one has an answer to it, but Appleby doesn't care. He comes down and says, take that with your net.
He has been so consistent all season for this Demon Deacons team. Obviously, the losses at Miami and at NC State feels like a missed opportunity. You even heard Steve Forbes there say it'll probably cost them the NCAA tournament this year. The thing that the Demon Deacons have going for them is you have 3 games here at the end of your season that get some momentum. Right. Go in to the ACC tournament 20-11, and then you never know what can happen in Greensboro.
You never know. Crazy things have been known to happen in Greensboro.
You know that better than anybody, brother.
I can tell you that. There's some crazy things have happened in Greensboro. But no, they're playing well. They're playing confident. They need to get back to winning and doing things like that.
Maybe Lucas Taylor is the answer. Playing for the first time since mid-December. He's hit 2 big threes, and it's a 6-0 run for Wake Forest.
And that's what you need, a guy that hadn't played much, didn't spend time pouting,
gets an opportunity late in the season, and he's taking advantage of it.
Offensive foul going the other way. And Wake Forest right back in this game, getting the crowd into it for the first time tonight. Taylor takes a seat after a big-time three.
He's done his part, coming in, giving this group a spark. A couple rebounds, knocked down a couple of threes.
Carr lines it up. Too much on it. Gets his own rebound, though. Keeps it alive for Wake Forest. Appleby pulls the trigger. Two really good looks and just can't connect.
Yeah, it's going to be a make or miss game. I don't think, the honesty about both of these teams, they struggle on the defensive end. So getting your shots won't be an issue. It's going to be making them, and when you don't, rebound.
Even without Damari Monsanto, who leads the ACC in threes, out tonight, Wake is still taking a lot of them. They've taken 13, made 6. Cormac Ryan fouled on his way to the rim. 2 Demon Deacons all over him. We've got a good one. 1-point game, Randolph.
We do. And this guy here, Lucas Taylor's doing his part to get the Deacs in it. Back in this game. Got a great one here in Winston-Salem.
Every now and again, an athlete
Desperately needs a win. You look at the last meeting in Cameron Indoor. Armando Bacon only 14 points. Well, it looks like Carolina might have found something tonight. Right now, they're up 10 on Virginia. If they can beat Virginia and then Duke next week, that would put them in the field, right?
I think it does. I think it'll give them enough. But they're in a battle right now against Virginia. They got to close that game out and not get caught looking ahead, because there's a game in Florida State on the road, and that's where UNC has struggled.
Yeah, great point, too, because with Florida State, a Seminoles team that, much like Notre Dame, so much better than their record,
yes.
and they proved that today, go on the road at Miami, who's playing for an ACC regular season title. Going up top, Matthew Marsh. Count it, plus the foul.
Matthew Duncan Marsh doing all what he does. Every game comes off. Don't jump with him. Watch your head. Cormac Ryan. And one. Shooting 90%. I teased Coach Forbes early, like, man, you got to get him the ball more, man.
Well, but it's a misleading stat, because 59 of your 73 makes have been dunks.
Hey, no one complained when Shaq did it, so who are you complaining
That's true.
for? No, he's definitely does his role well. Screens, rolls really hard. Plays really good interior defense for the Deacs.
All tied up at 27. Back and forth game here in Winston-Salem. Dane Goodwin, so good on the block. This time, he lost the ball. Lucas Taylor again. He's made a big impact on this game. Goodwin and Taylor rolling around. Nice job by the officials to get in there quickly.
Goodwin is really good in the post. Like I said, we talked about it earlier. They're going to struggle inside. So he's getting inside, got some help from Marsh. And
yeah.
Guys getting on the floor, getting after it a little bit. That's what you want to see from a guy like Lucas Taylor as well. Sophomore guard, hadn't played much this season. He's getting down early. He's giving his team a spark.
Now, hold on. Dane Goodwin standing at the free throw line. Now he's backed off. I thought the original call on the floor was a jump ball. Yeah, the jump ball was the call. Dane Goodwin standing at the foul line saying, I was fouled. Now, either way, it wouldn't be shooting, because Wake Forest only has committed 4 fouls.
I don't think there was anything malicious done there, so I think it'll be fine here.
I think it's a standard jump ball.
Yeah.
If anything, Taylor had the possession, and it was Goodwin that fell on him.
Yeah. No harm, no foul.
Officials take a look at the monitor, confirm the call, jump ball. So it'll stay Notre Dame because they had the possession arrow. And that's a frustration foul. Nate Leshevsky called for the moving screen.
Yeah, the timing of the play was thrown off. Cormac Ryan slipped, got up late, and Krzyzewski had to move his feet a little bit to get him an angle to try to get him open.
Notre Dame, no made field goals in the last 3 minutes. It's allowed Wake Forest to tie this game. Now looking for the lead. Wide open three. Too much on it. Hildreth, offensive rebound. Taylor, another opportunity. Right to the rim. He's rejected, but stays with it. Now Appleby. In attack mode. Decides not to shoot. Taylor with 5 seconds. Turns it over. Chaotic possession for Wake Forest.
Yeah, the Deacs are battling there. They got 3 opportunities there, and finally they turned it over. And something they've been doing, and Notre Dame's been punishing them with scoring. They had 9 points off turnovers right now.
And Wake Forest with 7 offensive rebounds in this game, but it feels like they haven't cashed in on those second chance opportunities. Great look inside. Matthew Marsh delivers again.
Feed the big man. Get that big man the ball. When he's not dunking, he's finishing. Great no look there. Marsh is just being solid, doing what he does. Catches it low inside off the great no look pass. That's a difficult pass sometimes for the bigs when you're not expecting it, but
first lead for Wake Forest since it was 2-0. Back on top 29-27 with 5:45 remaining in this first half.
Expect a ton of ball screens now with this lineup out there. They got their multiple handlers, and Krzyzewski can shot fake and get in the paint himself.
Ryan steps into a three. Can't hit it.
Both teams with their 5 men will set a ton of ball screens like this drag screen here. Every other position on the floor, they'll switch 1 through 4.
Appleby, so much speed. Hildreth's been quiet. No points for him tonight. Feeds it inside. Now Appleby again. Under 10 on the shot clock. Appleby fires the three and hits it. Tyree Appleby. It's a 14-2 Wake Forest run.
Appleby, when he's not scoring, he's creating, and it's a big-time shot late in the clock there. As Cormac Ryan just comes back and answers for the Fighting Irish.
Immediately quiets the crowd here at the Joel. Notre Dame needed that.
You saw that last possession, though. You see Monsanto being out a couple times there. Carr turned down the 3. Lucas Taylor didn't have it. He turned down the 3, and those are not open looks you give to the Deacs if Monsanto was out there on the floor. Crowd here in Winston doesn't like that one at all.
Neither does Steve Forbes. Back and forth game continues. It's been a wild day in the ACC. Feels like every game's coming down to the wire. Why not this one as well?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I think both of these teams are throw the records out. They're going to compete. They're going to take out the personalities of their coach.
And we have a Robbie Carmody sighting for Notre Dame. Redshirt senior guard who has only played 5 minutes all season. He's had to deal with so many horrific injuries throughout his Notre Dame career, but has stuck with it. Been a great practice player for Mike Bray, a great leader for that locker room, and 24 in blue on the court right now for the Irish. Notre Dame saying that was a tipped ball, but it's going to be Wake Forest possession. Demon Deacons leading by 2. 4 minutes left in the first. Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified February 18th to the 26th as ACC Unity Week. Randolph Childress, Jay Alter with you. We've got a fun one in Winston-Salem. Back and forth we go. Both teams shooting the ball really well. Notre Dame 52% from the floor. Wake Forest has made 7 threes, and without Damari Monsanto, that's about 7 more than I thought they'd make in this first half.
And they had more. I think they turned down a couple of shots that they've had. But again, they're taking the right shots from behind the arc right now. They're actually shooting it better from the 3-point line than they are from inside the arc.
Tyree Appleby, he's been electric all night long, all season long. Has it here. Thought about a 3. Now shoots. It was halfway down, did not fall. Another offensive rebound. That's 8 offensive rebounds for the Demon Deacons, but they have 0 second chance points.
Yeah, they hadn't finished, but they capitalized on them. But eventually they will like that. You can't keep giving a team second and third chances. Great job there, finally capitalizing on the offensive rebound.
Yeah, announcer's jinx there. As Wake Forest finally cashes in on an offensive rebound. 4-point lead for the Demon Deacons with a little more than 3 minutes to play in this first half.
Wake's doing a really good job of chasing perimeter guys over ball screens.
Ven-Allen Lubin cleans up the spill. Notre Dame answers with some second chance points for themselves.
It's a horse game right now.
It really is. They're copying each other. They're copying each other. Really fun game for the neutral, though.
I think for both of these teams, they've struggled defensively. On the offensive end, there hasn't been many issues with these clubs. They're capable of putting up points. Their issues have been getting stops.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Appleby has to heave way off the mark. So you think this will come down to who can string together enough stops?
Yeah, I think who can get stops, and off the three-point line will play a big part of what's going on here, but who can get stops when they need it and rebound the basketball? Notre Dame's doing a really good job of punishing the switches. That time they were able to get Appleby trying to reach it around.
Goodwin on the drive. Ven-Allen Lubin, an odd give and go off the leg. Freshman regathers. Great defense. Carr smothering Ven-Allen Lubin. Hildreth. You're right. Wake's hesitant to shoot without Monsanto out there, I think. Now Carr says, I'll take it and I'll make it.
Carr says, I'm not afraid. Give it to me.
Ties the largest lead of the game for Wake Forest at 5.
Not much resistance against either team. And again, Carr just catches him with his size and length. Catches it in rhythm and elevates and takes a shot. He's not known for his three-point shooting, but he does shoot at 34%. Just great defense there. Walls up, blocks the freshman, tell him get it out of here. And then catches it in rhythm. You're not up on him. Comes late close out there. Knocks it down.
Andrew Carr getting it done on both ends. Notre Dame enters the bonus, so 1-1 for Nate Laszewski. The Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament begins right down the road at Greensboro on Wednesday. Every matchup but the championship game right here on ACC Network and on the ESPN app. Our first round coverage begins 12:30 Eastern Time Wednesday. Timeout, Mike Bray and Notre Dame will take it with them. Be back in 30 seconds.
Never done that before.
Now for Mike Bray, this is familiar territory. Notre Dame, 9 games of the ACC decided by 5 points or less. It's a one-possession game right now. How different would this Irish season feel if it was 8-1 in those games instead of 1-8?
I mean, they would take 5-3.
True.
Right? I mean, 5-4, anything right now, but 1-8. I mean, that team is it's just surprising with a team with so much experience.
Is that a confidence thing?
It has to be. I mean, I think this team is so battle tested, and there's so many parts from a team that went to the returning players from a team that went to the NCAA tournament a year ago.
Won 2 games in the tournament too.
They did well. And I think, I think Atkinson is the biggest piece that I think they missed the most. His ability when jump shots weren't falling and being able to dump it inside to him. I think they just miss him dearly.
It'll be interesting to see what is next for Mike Bray because he reiterated it today, and it was in the press release. He is not retiring. It's just the end of his chapter with Notre Dame after 23 terrific years. There's going to be another chapter written.
It is. He might be up here with us. He might be on the sideline. I poked with him about all the rumors I've been hearing about him, and
he's linked with. He's going to be linked with every open job in the country already. Is.
And he should be. He should be. I should have asked him about how was that Irish whiskey he got from Virginia.
Yeah, those are the gifts Mike Bray has received from ACC teams. You get him anything, Randolph?
I didn't. Well, you know, he told us we'll catch up later, so I'll catch up with him at another time. We'll I have to find out and ask him what's really got planned.
He joked. He goes, if I'm taking another job, you coming with me?
Yeah, he joked about the Georgetown guys. We're both DMV guys, the area guys, so I've known Mike for a long time.
Did he recruit you?
No. I mean, I don't remember where Mike was when I was. You're talking forever ago. I mean, he might.
Yeah.
He wasn't at Notre Dame then.
He must have been at Delaware. So
he was at Delaware. Yeah,
you were above.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You weren't taking a look at the Blue Hens.
He might have sent me a letter in the mail in the 10th grade. After that, it was like, appreciate you, Coach, but nah.
It's so different now. You described getting a letter in the mail.
I know.
I wish it was still like that. And Mike Bray, that's part of the reason he's moving on from Notre Dame, is it just feels like this was a chapter that was so successful, but times have really changed. And he thinks it's good for both parties, both Notre Dame and him, to move on.
I mean, there's a lot of change going on throughout the last couple of years. We're losing a lot of legendary coaches, and then there's a lot of great coaches in the wing, and they're coming up and coming guys. And it's just time. I think he feels as though, like Coach Wright did, that Coach Williams did, like Coach K did, and eventually Coach Boeheim and Coach Ham down in Florida State. These guys will turn the rings over to some other young great coaches.
Yeah, the all-time wins leader for Notre Dame, past Digger Phelps, is 482. And the other thing is, even though he won't be on the sideline for Notre Dame next season, still going to be really well connected with the university. He said still an ambassador for life for the Irish, and also going to help in the transition. He'll be on that hiring committee for who his replacement will be.
Well, you should. With all the knowledge he has, his trade works, tried to penetrate there and lost the handle, keeps the possession of the basketball. He'll be able to help out and provide some insight to who's ever making that final decision. Not many coaches. He also joked about today, he gets to retire somewhat without getting fired.
Yeah.
That's a victory all within itself.
Absolutely. And right now, he's in a dogfight on the road. Leszewski lines up a three. Can't connect.
Got an open look there at the top of the key to Nate Leszewski, just not able to knock it down.
Steve Forbes with the use it or lose it timeout, and elects to use it. Going to draw something up for the final shot of the first half.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all. This is our product. This is what we do.
So this is the first time we've seen Steve Forbes' team without Damari Monsanto after he went down in the NC State game, had surgery earlier this morning to repair a torn patella and meniscus. How would you assess the Wake Forest offense without Monsanto out there?
It's never been an issue when the offense has been with the Deacs overall. I think at some point, the remainder of the season, they will miss him. I mean, his size and shot-making ability is unmatched. He was as good a shooter there was in the country. But right now, the Deacs already have 8 threes and the potential for another one here. So just overall, it hasn't affected their three-point shooting.
Appleby fouled with under 4 seconds left in the half. He'll go to the line for 1 and 1. First trip to the foul line for Tyree Appleby tonight. Usually he visits it pretty frequently.
He drives and puts so much pressure on your defense. But again, this Notre Dame team does not foul much.
And there's your ACC scoring leaders. Appleby leading the conference in both points per game and assists per game. You mentioned it earlier, Randolph, chasing what Alondas Williams was trying to do exactly this time a year ago.
Buddy Buckets from Syracuse clipped him from on
the final day of the season.
Final day of the season. I don't believe anyone catches him, to be honest. I think the assist total was gone. They're not going to catch that either. I think he'll finish strong enough on the offensive end.
Well, Trey Wertz just passed it to the official.
Strong half by both teams. Deacs responded at the early run. Great job.
Mike Bray with a big laugh. Here in Winston-Salem. Take a look at those scores. Clemson, a beatdown on NC State. Who saw that coming? Florida State shocks Miami at the buzzer, and Virginia goes down to North Carolina. Which of those results shocks you the most?
I think the NC State one. I mean, Clemson, that game was a 40-point game at one time. And there's, we hadn't seen a game. We both was here. And, I mean, Clemson's capable of that with the way they defend, but I can't see them being plus 40.
Wake Forest gets a stop to start the second half. And Clemson now puts themselves back in the title race in the ACC. It's going to come down to those four teams: Clemson, Virginia, Pittsburgh, and Miami.
I also think that win gets them back into the tournament. They were on the first four out. I think that win's big, and I think it's a big win toward getting them in. I think they're deserving of it as well.
Our ESPN bracketologist Joe Lenardi, as Ven-Allen Lubin slams it home, still has the Tigers on the outside looking in, but that's as it stands now for Clemson. They've got an opportunity midweek against Virginia.
Yeah.
If they win that game, then they're 100% in. Right now, Clemson still next four out. I'm with you, though. I'd put them in. You look at them today, eye test tells you that's an NCAA tournament.
Well, if you talk about when teams are healthy, if the committee looks at it, that team struggled with injuries and we're missing guys. I know the schedule always comes into play, but they're definitely an NCAA tournament team and deserving of the nod to get in.
Right back to Ven-Allen Lubin. Back-to-back buckets for the freshman. He's starting to feast down low.
He's getting more touches today. No Hammond, no Sterling. He's getting no Starling. He's getting a couple touches that he usually don't get, and he's capitalized on them.
We showed you bracketology, and way at the bottom, Wake Forest still under consideration. They're above 500 in ACC play. If they win the last three here, and it's a favorable schedule for them, they'd end up with 20 wins. 20 wins and above 500 in conference play, usually good enough to get you in, but still well on the outside. Appleby lays it off, and that's a man's jam from Matthew Marsh.
Great drive, great pass, great finish by Marsh in traffic.
Restores a 3-point lead for Wake Forest.
And you can imagine the pace is going to slow down some here in the second half. I mean, both teams went to the bench a little bit. But I expect them to ride their starters hard here in the second half.
Both teams battling through injuries, so no depth at their disposal tonight. It may be these five the rest of the way for Notre Dame without Hammond and Starling. Down low, Marsh draws the foul.
Goodman was right there. It came over late in the rotation and was right underneath the rim. And just great drive there by Appleby. Again, another drop off by Marsh. Takes that strong dribble, just gathers himself and overpowers the freshman inside.
Tangled up underneath Wirtz and Hildreth. Two quick fouls for this Notre Dame team. And again, with no bench, not a lot of fouls at the disposal. Blocked out of bounds.
Trey Works looking around. He's like, hey, I hit the full twice here, and it's no whistle. And he'll get there fighting for position.
Clean block from Ven-Allen Lubin. A lot of talk about the Notre Dame veterans. Ven-Allen Lubin's been a big, bright spot for this Irish team. They're going to totally rebuild and retool their roster under a new head coach, but Ven-Allen Lubin, at least to me, is the one building block you have going into next season.
Well, the question will be is, what does J.J. Starling do as well? I mean, they got two top 100 recruits here that has decisions to make, and, I don't know if J.J. Starling will test the NBA, but I think he can use another year to kind of develop his game, but he has the physical tools that if he wants to put himself in an NBA draft and go forward, I think he'll have that opportunity.
Leszewski misses the layup. Wake Forest in transition. Klintman can't connect.
But to your point, Ven-Allen, Lubin, there'll be a bunch of schools calling for this young man's services. Freshman big out of Orlando he's already with 12 and 5 so far here.
Wirtz lost the handle. Scramble for the ball. It's a jump ball. Possession arrow with Wake Forest. Notre Dame has really cooled off from three. They started this game 4 for 4 from beyond the arc, since just 1 of 8.
And they're a streaky team, and I think that's what hurts them. I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. They were only 4 of 21 early and came out tonight and hit their first 4, and that's where they're going to miss Hammond and they're going to miss Starling right now. I mean, with those guys missing, they put pressure on the rim and they beat you off the dribble. They don't really have a creator out there right now, so it's putting so much pressure on them just running their offense efficiently and just getting shots. And then when they get them, they got to knock them down, because I think Wake is a much bigger team and hurts them on the glass.
Here's Cormac Ryan, been quiet today. Off the mark from 3.
He and Mansato are two players, I think. They just shoot the basketball the way you want to teach it, and it looks good every time it leaves their hand.
These teams have both gone ice cold to start the second half in a scoring drought of 2 minutes and 30 seconds for both of them. One possession game, though. These two teams have played close games all season long, and it's continuing tonight.
With the Venture X card from Capital One, you earn 2 times miles on every purchase.
The noise canceling. You're being too loud.
What's better than Champ Week, and it's almost here. Randolph Childress, Jay Alter with you. Of course, the New York Life ACC Men's Tournament. Greensboro, right down the road, March 7th to the 11th. Every game on ESPN's family of networks, on the ESPN app as well. It's wide open. Anybody can go into Greensboro and win it this year.
It is. I think once you get there, everyone should have a very high level of optimism that they can come out and win it. I mean, we've seen these teams get on rolls, and right now, we thought Miami was the most dominant team coming in, and they struggled today. Lost the game to Florida State at home, so it's truly who shows up, who shows out.
Matt Zona, a frustration foul after the missed layup. If I had to put you on the spot, who would you take today in Greensboro?
That's a tough one. I think today was indicative. Like, who do you think's playing well going in? I would have said maybe NC State, and then, I mean,
look at that.
Oh my gosh, that game today was just.
Maybe could be Clemson.
I'd say this. I think Pitt's.
Yep.
People don't talk enough about Pittsburgh, and
certainly the most consistent team right now.
I just think they're a tough matchup too with their 4 guards that they have. I mean, they got to close Win Burton, who's an all-conference guard, and the question is going to be, if you don't show up, there's plenty of teams now that are at the bottom of the league that are beginning to play. Louisville's a tough out. Georgia Tech's playing better. Florida State's playing better.
Who would have said Virginia Tech this time a year ago? 2 last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they enter in and win 4 games in 4 days, yeah, I wouldn't want to see them either.
No, I mean, those are teams you don't want to see early. You're in the lower seed of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Winston, there's lids on the rim right now.
Yeah, neither team has scored in the last 4 minutes. I mean, that is 4 minutes without any points for either team after a first half that was nothing but points.
Yeah, well, what's happening is both teams, too, they play outside in. And I expect Wake to get the Tar. Now they're trying to get Hildreth going inside and post him up.
Has a step, and he misses the layup.
He traveled there, yeah. Yeah, he was just trying to get himself going there. He's been in a couple of scuffles with a couple of guys, and it's a physical game, and just not quite been able to get the ball in the basket here.
These two teams have missed 12 shots in a row, make it 13.
I'm going to make jump out here on a limb. Someone's going to score.
On this possession or in the next 13 minutes and 30 seconds? Appleby. He's the guy you can count on. Tyree Appleby delivers.
I mean, he's the guy. He's been the guy all year for the Deacs and making his claim for the ACC Player of the Year as well.
I think if he ends as the leader in points and assists, it'll be tough to not pick him.
Yes, but even today, and Forbes and I agreed on this, I think you reward winning. And we both talked about with a lot of the awards.
Yeah. I think that could be a tiebreaker. If you think two guys are tied, you take the one who was on the better team. Hildreth comes alive, buries that 3, and it's the largest lead of the night for Wake Forest.
Hildreth said, I had enough of that. Frustrated again. Stops in, wanted to knock down a 3, put the Deacs up, largest lead of the day, up 8 here in Winston-Salem. Yeah, 2 was from 10 minutes ago. Penetration, scoop, and lay. Breaks a 5-minute drought, and Hildreth just comes down and bangs his first basket. Deep 3 for him.
Yeah, the lid is off for Wake Forest. Back-to-back baskets after going 4 minutes without one. It's the largest lead for either team tonight. And it feels like the crowd's into it for the first time, finally starting to rock on a Saturday night.
Well, making a couple shots will help to do that to you.
Yeah.
We went on like a 5-minute drought.
Well, Notre Dame's still on a 5-minute and 46-second scoring drought.
Yeah, I was close to putting out some cards, man, and start playing a game, challenging the game of dunk or something. Like, I didn't know what to do.
The Irish desperate for a bucket. At least when both teams were missing, it kept it a one-possession game. Now Mike Bray's team down 8.
But again, when you're a jump shooting team, you're just, shooting the 3 like that way. They don't have anyone to take pressure off and beat anybody off the dribble. I think Ven-Allen Lubin has been good dropping it in the post with
Cormac Ryan, he's been quiet tonight, but that's a huge bucket. 6 minutes without any points finally comes to an end.
Can we say that the Deacs and the Irish are playing a little defense, or it's just missed shots?
No, they've been playing I think, you know what? I think both coaches went into halftime and said, we need to start getting some stops.
That's what it was. We'll say that.
There were a couple missed layups in there. Big-time 3, Davian Williamson delivers.
You don't want to leave him open, and that's what he does. I mean, Davian Williamson is a 39% three-point shooter and catches that one in rhythm and knocks it down. And for a senior that's been with Forbes, I asked Forbes today about him and asked him, he's going to miss him. When he first got here, Davian Williamson came in and just allows you to coach him, and he's just tough. He's as tough as anyone in there is in college basketball. Doesn't get the notoriety a lot, but plays a lot bigger and tougher than people give him credit for.
Williamson again, that way off the mark, but he gets his own rebound. Leads to another 3. Hildreth, no good.
Hildreth shot the first one, was a little hesitant on that one. I thought he just made one. Just don't even hesitate, knock it down, just like that.
Goodwin, quick release, gets his own miss and draws the foul. Hildreth again. He's been on the floor a lot tonight. His first foul as Williams hit his first bucket of the night, a 3. Demon Deacons up by 9. Download the ACC 3-Point Challenge app presented by New York Life. It supports the local boys and girls clubs. Score points for your school, and after the tournament, your local boys and girls club will receive a donation from New York Life based on their affiliated ACC team's final ranking. Randolph Childress, Jay Alter with you. Notre Dame missed 9 straight shots, went scoreless for 6 minutes. It's allowed Wake Forest to open up a 9-point lead. And Trey Wirtz struggling to get it in. 5-second violation. Wake Forest has really stepped up the defensive intensity.
They have. They're starting to get stops. And again, this Notre Dame offense is struggling right now. They're reeling. They don't have, like I said, they've lost their 2 guards they can give the ball to create off the bounce. And this defense of Wake Forest is starting to get after them a little bit.
Offensive foul, moving screen.
Carr was trying to get out of the way there and accidentally ran into Hildreth's defender, and ref's got to call that on him, but he was just trying to get out of the way. Forward saying my guy got pushed. He didn't like the call.
I think Steve Forbes has been in a constant state of frustration ever since Wednesday night in Raleigh.
Well, I think he knew going into that game that was a big part of their NCAA tournament hopes was getting a win like that, either the Miami game or the NC State game. So I think some of that press conference was just frustration.
Yeah, losing those 2 games just felt like that was the opportunity to bolster the resume.
Yeah, to get that win, that signature win.
Coming up right after us, stick with us on ACC Network. It's been a crazy day in the ACC, and the best way to get fully caught up, nothing but net. Kelsey Riggs and the crew will get you in the studio right after this game goes final. I'd say this has been the craziest Saturday in the ACC so far this season, and it feels like every Saturday is, but you got Florida State beating Miami on the road, Clemson laying the hammer on NC State. Pittsburgh almost put 100 up on Syracuse.
Yeah. I think it's so, you get this late in the year, it's just such a familiarity, so you shouldn't be surprised. I think the biggest surprise is that some of these wins is the road win. The Clemson win at home is just, on the road at NC State is just shocking. I mean, that was a game that was, I watched the attendance, it was nearly a sold-out crowd, nearly 20,000 there, and they went home early.
When you look at the box score, see the highlights, what was the reason? What was the recipe for the success for the Tigers today?
I think they're healthy, and they're one of the teams that can beat you in all 3 levels. When P.J. Hall inside gets going, Hunter Tyson's having an all-ACC type of year. And I think their guard play is just as strong as anybody's as far as Chase Hunter is a great lead guard, and today Brevin Galloway just shot the lights out, and he's capable of doing that. So when they're healthy, they have an identity. That team defends and they can score. And they're a team that easily can go in the ACC this weekend and win it. I mean, I think they're just a strong team on both sides of the basketball.
Is it panic time for Tony Bennett in Virginia? Back-to-back losses, Boston College, and today North Carolina, as Appleby banks in a 3.
No, I wouldn't call it panic time. I mean, they're a team that struggles to score. And when the pace gets up and they get to a game like that, I think they just lost the game on the road. Losing to Carolina in Chapel Hill isn't a bad thing. Carolina struggles on the road.
Big-time bucket plus the foul. Ven-Allen Lubin, he's been the brightest spot for Notre Dame tonight.
He's played really, really well. I mean, he's already up to 14 points and just having his way inside. I mean, again, this is a top 100 recruit. Freshman, and he's been in and out of the starting lineup. But he's sitting here now going at the line for his 15th point already with 5 rebounds.
And with that made foul shot, a career high for Ven-Allen Lubin on the road tonight in Winston-Salem. 15 points. Need some help, though. Notre Dame still down by 9. Wake Forest in the driver's seat with a little more than 9 minutes left in regulation.
we said this out off air. I think Mike Bray has been challenging this group to defend more in the man-to-man. I mean, this team used to play much more zone than they have man, and I think he's just challenging these guys. Say, hey, if you want to win in this league, you got to put your chest on people, and you got to sit down and you got to guard. And
Tyree Appleby, you know it's coming. You still can't stop it.
And they went over that play and shoot around today. That Euro handoff play for 3, and Appleby, I've watched him do that, I know, 4 or 5 times this year. You know it's coming, and you still can't stop it.
19 points for Appleby. Continues to build his case for ACC Player of the Year.
And Ven-Allen Lubin comes right back off the dish and scores, adding to his career, his season high.
That was a heat check from Appleby. Might have forced it, but you can give him that after what he's given to the Demon Deacons, not just tonight, but all season long.
Well, there's certain shots that certain players take that you live with, and he's one of them. He's taking care of the basketball, and he's making shots. He also has 6 assists.
Leszewski lines up a 3, doesn't drop. Bounces out to Goodwin. Fresh shot clock stolen away by Appleby, and Goodwin called for the intentional foul. Ripped the jersey. That's an easy call for the officials.
Just a frustration foul by a veteran that knows better. I mean, Goodwin's struggling tonight. It's only 1 of 7 from the floor. You know, just has the ball stolen from him, and it's just a frustration foul, and he's just reacted in a way of it's going to cost his team 2 shots on the ball. And again, when you're struggling from the field, and these guys want to win. They've been struggling so bad. They've lost 6 straight. They're wearing this. It's wearing on them. They've had so much success. He's been a part of winning in his career, and none of these veteran guys like the way this season's going, and they don't turn things around in this last 8 minutes. They'll be heading to 7 straight losses.
And who would have thought a team that made the NCAA tournament and won 2 games a year ago would be in this position? You take a look at Appleby's numbers, what he is doing in this league. Again, a year ago, we were saying it was historic. Alondes Williams, it's never happened. And yet Appleby, I just feel like, is not getting that same love.
No, I think because of, I can't explain why. I just think that people aren't talking about it as much because we just saw it a year ago.
Fault? Is that our fault?
It could be. It could be. Because we're still saying the same storyline. Oh, it's never happened. It's never happened. And then, so people, I think, now are just not giving him credit. But this young man's having a heck of a year.
He really is. And something we'll talk about when we come back. If you're a transfer sitting out there, Wake Forest has to be the top of the list. Tyree Appleby has scored or assisted on Wake Forest's last 11 points. We were having the conversation before the break. He is not getting enough love. Alondes Williams, last year's ACC Player of the Year. You could argue Tyree Appleby's having an equally or even better season.
I mean, you can. I think he's run away with the assist, lead this year, and he's continued on that pace right now. He already has 6 this game, and I think he'll finish up with more. But again, he's unstoppable here. He's leading the ACC in minutes played. He's put so much pressure on you. He does it in so many different ways. And Forbes just puts him in so many different situations, off the dribble and off the catch. I mean, running half-court sets. He just puts the ball in his hands, late clock. So he's going to have scoring opportunities, and nothing you can do about it. He's just a really good player.
So now if you're Steve Forbes, going to recruit the transfer portal again, you have a 2-year sample size in Alondes Williams and Tyree Appleby to say to a kid, come here, look at what you could do.
I think they're just adding to the long history of elite guard play that this university's had for quite some time. And no, it even predates me.
That number 22 is hanging in the rafters. Up top, Bobi Klintman rips the rim off with that alley-oop.
Bobi Klintman's going to be so good. He scored a lot early, hit a couple threes early, and now he's catching lobs and finishing at the paint. Lucas Taylor this time throwing it up top. Throwing up to the big Swede. Bobi Klintman is so talented. It's going to be exciting to watch and see his development in the future of the Deacs. Critical time right now for Notre Dame.
Yeah, they're in the danger zone right now. Trey Wirtz knows it, rejected at the rim. Wake Forest going to run. Klintman.
Got Notre Dame in matchup.
Wide open three. Williamson. Oh, it was halfway down, didn't drop. Stays with Wake Forest underneath their own hoop.
Great effort there by Carr going to the glass. Wasn't able to come up with it, but created another possession here for the Deacs.
Last time they ran that play, Appleby took the three and hit it. This time on the drive. Rattled in and out again. That's two that were halfway down on that possession.
I think this is the difference. We talked about it before. It's where Mike Bray has challenged this group, Notre Dame. I mean, usually this team would fall back and play so much zone. Even with their bigger lineup on the floor right now, he's going back and he's like, hey, we're going to have to defend man. Put your chest on people and stay in front of the ball and guard.
Now, Notre Dame's fallen into another scoring drought. This second half has been so unkind for the Irish offensively. 5 of 21 from the floor, 0 of 7 from 3. And that's the type of half it's been.
Well, right now with the lineup on the floor, they really only have Trey Wirtz to initiate offense. And the other guys out there, they're good shooters and good scorers inside. They're just not good at creating offense. So they're going to have to rely so much on the half-court set. And right now, they're back to their big lineup again. Yeah. There you have J.J. Starling and
Marcus Hammond
there watching. And those were the two guys that created so much offense for them. And now, I mean, the group they got out there is just massive. Just they got their started. Zona, Lubin, and Leshetsky have all started at the 5-man for them throughout the year.
It's the opposite of the way they've played all season long.
Yes, and they have to go zone with this lineup. I mean, I can't imagine, again, with J.J. Starling actually warming up at shoot-around today that they expected to play this lineup, but now they've gone to more of that zone that we've known them to play throughout the year.
Elliott gets them a stop. Now can they cash in on the other end? Goodwin passes up the 3. Here's Matt Zona. And now Trey Wirtz.
I don't know. Zona knew he had Hill to go on him that time. He could have turned around and scored on him in the post.
Ripped away. Lucas Taylor been a big bright spot off the bench for Wake Forest. Great pass. Andrew Carr hammers it home. It's all Wake Forest.
How about Lucas Taylor? He's been giving the Deacs some great minutes. Creating, finding players, finding guys. Good defense here by the Deacs. Helped by Klintman on the block, and then Lucas Taylor's been given so many good minutes. Coming in and knocking down shots here. Turning down a shot, finding the Carr for an easier basket. Deacs are getting it done on both ends of the floor here.
In the second half, Wake Forest outscoring Notre Dame 24-13. This was a one-possession game for pretty much the entire first half.
Yeah.
What changed?
Well, I think the defensive intensity of the Deacs turned up. I mean, there's not much of a threat to be. They've been vulnerable to teams beating them off the bounce and beating them off the dribble, and Notre Dame just doesn't have that. And they have size, they have length, and I think you're seeing that's taking its toll. And then it's forced this Notre Dame team to rely on players that just zone, and he hasn't played much.
It's an Irish team that is yet to win away from home. Have not won a game outside of South Bend. They are 0-10. Zona passing it to the front row.
And again, coming out of a timeout, we talked about it. Zona's experienced, but he hasn't played in quite some time. He's been in the system, but not a lot of live game minutes here this year. And comes out and passes it to some friends in the first row there.
So midweek this week, Notre Dame hosts Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, the #1 team in the ACC. It'll be Mike Bray's final home game at Purcell Pavilion. If the Irish have a last punch to throw this year, it feels like it's got to be that game. Send Coach Bray out with a win. Not going to be easy with the #1 team in the ACC in town.
No, that Pitt team and their guard play is, wow. I mean, they can play 4 guards out there at one time, and they really get after you with a level of physicality. And, you know, they're a team that I think will be in the postseason, and a team that you just don't want to play.
And that's what's crazy about the net and bracketology. Right now, Joe Lunardi, as it stands today, has the Pitt team as a 10 seed. If you're a 7 seed or a 2 seed,
good luck
and you
with
get
that.
Pitt,
good luck with that.
You're thinking, what did we do wrong?
Oh my goodness, it's not a team you'd want to play with the expectations that you're going to have with possibly being a 2 seed. I mean, that team is capable of beating anybody because they're going to get after you on the defensive end. They have a physicality, they got great guard play, and they have a closer. J.B. Burton is definitely a closer.
Foul on the floor. Notre Dame down 12 with 3:23 left. Wake Forest to the driver's seat.
There are all kinds of products in this world.
February 18th to the 26th as ACC Unity Week. Randolph Childress, Jay Alter with you. The Tyree Appleby Show continues in Winston-Salem. 12-point lead for the Demon Deacons. This was a big one for them. Back-to-back losses at Miami, at NC State. A lot of fans feel like that puts them outside the NCAA tournament conversation now. This could have been a trap game for them, and they've responded very positively.
Yeah, they've come out tonight and answered the bell. I mean, this is a team that came in and they dropped 2 road games, but they've been good in this building. They've been a difficult out.
Now, Appleby thought Ryan kicked his leg out there to draw the foul.
I agreed with him when I initially saw it. I thought it was a shot. He was playing for the foul when he jumped up. I thought he kicked his leg out, and Appleby had something to gripe about there. I thought he called they could have left without.
Instead, 3 coming for Ryan. The ACC women's basketball tournament begins Wednesday right down the road at Greensboro Coliseum. Every matchup but the championship game right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Our first round coverage begins 12:30 Eastern time with nothing but net.
Notre Dame's going to have to extend their pressure here. A little bit out of their character, but they're going to have to come out in some type of full court pressure, unable to make the free throw, so they can't set their defense now.
Only made 1 of 3. Appleby dribbling up the court, probably thinking ball don't lie a little bit. Wasn't happy with that foul call. 21.6 assists for Tyree Appleby tonight.
Yeah, they're going to put the ball in his hand and let him close it. He draws fouls. He finishes in these moments. And
Williamson down the lane into traffic. Offensive foul.
It's uncharacteristic for Wake Forest guards to get offensive fouls driving. They do a great job of getting in the paint, playing off 2 feet. And I think Davian Williamson just thought he didn't see the rotation there, but great call. Great step up. Taking the charge there for the Irish.
Good one. You know the threes are going to fly. That one off the mark.
Been a tough night for Goodwin. Just hadn't been able to get shots, knock shots in.
Look at that bottom left. 3-point field goal. Started 4 for 4. Red hot since 1 of 15.
Yeah.
And there's cooling off, and then there's that.
I mean, there's no one out there. I mean, Lubin has benefited when they're not shooting threes because they've been able to throw it inside to him for him to score. But as we said earlier and so many times today, the inability to attack the paint off the dribble is something that this team is missing without Hammond and Starling, and it's showing itself right now.
Step back 3. Goes baggy from Appleby, and it stays with Wake Forest. Now, Bobi Klintman's been really good on the offensive glass tonight.
Wake's got their hand on so many offensive rebounds and opportunities and created so many second chance points. I mean, that's 15 offensive rebounds.
And a double-double for Klintman.
But Notre Dame struggles with that. They struggle to finish. I mean, struggle to finish possessions and secure rebounds.
Ryan, coast to coast, lays it up and in.
And you don't see them extending their pressure at the time it's late. They're just not built that way. Their lack of depth has enabled them to doing that all year. They don't foul. They usually mix up. They're playing more zone lately. I think Coach Bray is challenging this group to defend better man-to-man.
Another offensive foul. Ryan draws it again. Well, after a wild day in the ACC, you don't want to miss Tuesday night's doubleheader, Clemson, Virginia. That is a must-see matchup at 7 right here on ACC Network, and then the nightcap, Virginia Tech and Louisville.
I think that Clemson team is scary. I mean, people don't talk about them as much as I think they should.
Another offensive foul. That one against Wirtz.
So Appleby talked to him last time, and they rewarded him this time.
Now, coming up right after us in a minute and 16 seconds, you'll be in studio. The Nothing But Net crew will recap a wild day in the ACC. Crazy Saturday. You'll see Florida State beat Miami at the buzzer. I mean, going into Greensboro, truly, anybody can beat anybody.
It's wide open. I mean, you saw some road wins today that you just didn't expect to see. And as you saw Appleby try to put Leshetsky in the blender there.
Wake Forest defense, the story in this second half, held Notre Dame just 18 second half points.
We talked about earlier who's going to get stops, and second half Deacs stepped up and trying to get stops. And today, credit to the Deacs, they did it on the defensive end. We knew that they're such a good offensive team. We knew they continued to score, but today Deacs stepped up and got stops when they needed it.
As you look at the ACC scoreboard, one game we haven't talked a lot about, Pittsburgh putting 99 up on the Orange.
Yeah. Against that zone. But again, we talked about their guard play. I mean, it's...
As crazy as it sounds, would you make Pitt the favorite? They were 14th preseason, second to last in the preseason, but I think you have to, after what they've done.
Well, and it's also why I say, I think of all the races that are wide open in the league, I don't think Coach of the Year is. I think that's Caples, and I think you can start putting his name on a reward. I just, you know, how many teams have lost? He's lost his quote-unquote preseason best player in Joe Hughley, and then his team comes out and just, I mean, from pick 14 totally changes everything that they were doing. And last year they played more inside out, and then now their entire system is changing. They're leading the ACC.
You know, it's funny, doing a lot of games down in Pittsburgh this year, one of their fans told me we were picked 14th out of 15, and the only reason we weren't 15 out of 15 was because of Hughley.
Yes, it was. I agree.
So without him, they really should be 15 of 15, and yet without him, they might win the league. How about that?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's just a credit to Jeff Capel and his staff.
Yep. I mean, that's going to be, I think, an easy vote for Coach of the Year.
I think that's the easiest vote of anything. The first team all-conference will be interesting. Player of the Year, like who wins that award? I mean, second team, who wins it?
No idea. You know, Wake Forest wrapping up another home win.
I know that guy's the first team all-conference.
No doubt.
That's not up for debate. I think he's right there for Player of the Year as well.
You know, Ven-Allen Lubin, we've said his name a lot tonight. 19 points, a career high for the freshman. 8 rebounds as well. He's been the bright spot for Notre Dame, who's going to likely fall to 0-11 outside of South Bend. That's a crazy stat.
It is. And let's see what this team looks like when they get their guards back. You know, when Hammond and Starling comes back, because neither of the injuries are significant. We don't think they're season-ending injuries.
No, they're going to be back for the ACC tournament.
And that's a team, again, they're capable of shooting the basketball well. They just, you know, they go through cold streaks, and they did tonight, and they had no one else to fall on. But the freshman has stepped up and done his part. Ven-Allen Lubin has been really, really good, and he's a bright spot. It'll be interesting to see what he does with the decision of Mike Bray to move on at season end.
You said it earlier. You know people are going to be calling.
Oh, my gosh. I think the phone started ringing the day the announcement came out that Mike Bray was going to be back.
And that's so tough.
Oh, it's
Brutal.
Whoever the new coach is, first thing he's got to do is recruit his own players.
Well, you better hope he's there when you get there, because now you just go on the portal. I mean,
well, do you think part of that timing was strategic from Mike Bray to say, you know what, I want to help this program, so rather than wait to the end of the season, I'm going to tell them now so they can at least get a jump start on the search?
You know what I want? That would be Mike's decision. He's earned the right to say or do it whenever he wants. I mean, there's so much respect for him. You won't find just a better guy.
You really won't.
And I like I said, I had the privilege of calling the game right when he made that announcement. And you heard me tell him today at shoot around that it was just something different about him. Like, he wanted just to get that off his chest. There was an energy about him. Like, he was just so dialed in. Like, I got to get this off my chest.
Yeah, he said he decided over the Christmas break.
Yes, you can tell he was intentional about just making that announcement.
Boy, he'd love to bottle up some of that magic he had in 2015 in Greensboro in a couple of weeks, 10 days from now. Yes. He said he's going to tell the guys, hey, we're packing for a few days.
Yeah, why not? And they're a dangerous team. When they're healthy, as we've seen in this league, if you don't show up, you're going to lose. And it doesn't matter who you're playing. And so many teams in the bottom half of that league throw their record out. They're playing better basketball. Carr there fouls out with 11 points. One of 3 Deacs and 11 in double figures tonight.
Mm-hmm. Ballard scoring. Yeah, obviously Appleby leads the way. Thought Lucas Taylor came in and provided some
really
big-time
good minutes.
Yeah.
Really good minutes. I mean, gave them 6 points and knocked down a couple of threes in his limited minutes. And that's what you want to see for a guy. That's really impressive for someone that hadn't played much all year.
Wake Forest moves on to face Boston College on Tuesday. The Eagles coming off that big-time upset against Virginia.
Talking about a team you don't want to play.
Yeah, they defend you, man.
And Quentin Post is as good as any player in this league. And had he been healthier all year, he'd be someone we'd be talking about. He'd be in that first-team All-ACC.
It was funny. If you look at his numbers against Quad 1 opponents, he's the only player better than him in the entire country.
Listen,
Zach Edey at Purdue.
I've watched him dominate guys that we think are the better bigs in this league. I've watched him personally dominate those guys and thought the league better be happy that he hadn't been around all year long. And great win here by the Deacs. They turned it around defensively on the second half, and unfortunately for Notre Dame, it got cold. The losing streak continues, but